let's get back to the Ashes. So Ashes of Creation has announced that they're going into early access. It's alpha right now, which is not early access, which is not beta, which is not released. But you're gonna get the game in early access on the 11th. So let's go ahead and watch this. This is the early access trailer for Ashes of Creation. Then we're gonna talk about some more MMO stuff.
Vera was once a world of abundance. Great empires flourished and spread across endless seas.
Yeah, just fast forward the start of the stream.
Your people
What do you mean, your
carved
people?
How from wilderness,
do you mean, your
daring
people?
any perils that lay between.
This looks like an Elden Ring.
Heart of this world lays the essence, magic itself. But this wondrous age of discovery and purpose left few
Amazing stream, thank you.
prepared for the horrors to come. For the ancients showed no mercy. Survivors were advised to flee to the divine gates. An age passed before the gates reawakened.
Damn.
But now,
What'd he do?
you and your people have returned
Took
to
care of him London
reclaim
style.
your ancestral home. Your destiny awaits.
Ooh, my destiny. Did you try Ashes before? I did, whenever it was an alpha. I've been around long enough to where like I talked to a lot of like devs, people in gaming, whether it was back from like the classic WoW days of like leading up to classic WoW and helping with stuff there and giving a lot of the feedback. I talked to Steven a decent amount, but I haven't talked to him in like almost a year. Yeah, that's the first thing I want to talk about. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. How do you feel about early access, Esfand? Is it not just a full release of the game plus a community-driven shield for when things don't work or are bad? Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Generally, how I feel about like early access for MMOs, I feel like when an MMO goes into early access, it's kind of funny because yeah, it's basically like a PR shield. Some people say like, yeah, you say like it's also free testing, kind of. That's what the alpha is for. That's what betas are for. I'm okay with the concept of like, hey, let's give the player something early and then they have like free testing. The reason why I'm okay with this is if there's an understanding there that, hey, this game is in early access, this is essentially a declaration of, hey, this game is new and there's a lot of things that are subject to change. And we know that this game is maybe not 100% in the final state that it's gonna be in. And it never is. It's an MMORPG and it's constantly changing, constantly getting updated. And this is kind of like the case with what an MMORPG is. What an MMORPG is time consuming, it's life consuming, it's all encompassing. And that's what it's always been, right? Back from the days of EverQuest, from Dark Age of Camelot to WoW, Star Wars Galaxies, everything, right? All these old MMOs, all the new MMOs, Final Fantasy XIV. MMOs historically have been like, I play an MMO and that is the game that I play. There's certain kind of behaviors that come out of the MMO community because of these things. One of which is like, you have some people, and this has changed over the years, but this is like the original, right? Where people will just play one game and they just play WoW. That's all they do and they don't play anything else and that's all they do. That's how they get a lot of their social. IRL Sims character of recharging their like happy bar. They get a lot of that through their one game and that's really what MMOs do. Now, things have happened over the years that have kind of taken away from this because there's so many other ways to get entertainment. Even back in the day, like we didn't have Discords, we had guild chat. Okay, even something as simple as that, and it's like Discord and a video game is two different things, right? But WoW covered for a lot of these things, right? You had a vent server or a TeamSpeak server, and then you would type in guild chat or trade chat all day, and you'd shitpost and whatever. Mumble, all this stuff. WoW gave you a lot of that sort of like social coverage that you have. Over time, MMOs are so time consuming and people have become so busy, right? Now, I remember back then, there was like nobody my age playing WoW that I played with. I was like 12 when I started playing WoW. I was 9 whenever I started playing Dark Age of Camelot, which is cool because I was really good at those games early on because I started playing real young. And then I quit whenever Wrath came out because like football, college, yada, 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 right? So whenever Wrath came out, I was like, it was my senior year of football, all that stuff. So I'm like, okay. But there was 2 reasons why I quit WoW. 2 reasons. And then the other one was an excuse. There were 2 reasons and 1 excuse. One excuse was, actually 2 excuses. Like school, football, right? 2 excuses, 2 reasons. The 2 reasons were Paladin had changed so much that I didn't enjoy the new version of Paladin, Wrath of the Lich King. It wasn't fun for me. So I didn't have my class. Like I felt like my class was taken away from me. But then even beyond that, it's funny because they were like totally overpowered right when Wrath came out. But beyond that, a lot of my friends had quit. A lot of the people that I knew that played WoW, they had also quit. Those being the two kind of main reasons. I didn't have the people that I played with. I didn't have my class. It felt like I wasn't playing my game. And whenever I felt like I wasn't playing my game, I found a couple other excuses, being football, being school, being college, being this, that. I'm gonna go this way. But I was always kind of looking over my shoulder and I was always kind of like looking back and I'd dip my toes in. I played for like a little bit in Cataclysm for like a month or 2 months maybe. And then I went and that's whenever I kind of started League of Legends. I looked at Mist of Pandaria. I was like, dance game, pandas, what is this? Didn't look at Mists. Then I looked back again at Warlords of Draenor. And Warlords of Draenor, what do they say? When they said Warlords of Draenor was coming out and I read the Warlord stuff. And because I was always watching YouTube videos, I actually read patch notes. I read every single patch notes. I remember if there was a new patch, because I always wanted to come back, but it just wasn't my game. When that happened, when a Warlords of Draenor was coming out, I was like, look, we're going back to Draenor. We're going back in time. We're going to Outland as it was. And I'm like, yes, yes. That's what I'm freaking talking about. I was so excited to go back to Draenor. And I thought, you know what? The Ashbringer. The story of the Ashbringer. There used to be a website called ashbringer.com and it had all the little lore tidbits of the Ashbringer and people spent years trying to find this thing out, right? Because originally they said the Ashbringer was on Draenor. If you go get the corrupted Ashbringer, and I have a video on this, there's another YouTube video on this from years ago whenever I got the corrupted Ashbringer and I went to Scarlet Monastery with Crusade. We go to Scarlet Monastery and we do the RP event. And it's like the guy who crafted the Ashbringer is on Draenor or something like that. But you can see that in the video if you want to go back and watch that video. My passion and desire to learn more about the Ashbringer made me want to play Warlords again. You know, you go back and it's kind of like, oh, Terralion and Illyria are finally in the game and all this cool stuff, right? It's daily WoW history rant. I remember the Ashbringer about Ashes of Creation. Well, they started the same way and it made me think of the Ashbringer. So anyway, actually, you guys want to see my Ashbringer? Please respond. Yeah, I just bought this. It's so small, it's normal. It's a normal size, it's not small, okay? Also, it's cold. What is this, an ash bringer? It's actually the ash steak knife. It's the steak bringer. So anyway, that made me want to play Warlords of Draenor. I come back to Draenor, I was like, wow, WoD sucks balls. I quit and I was like, I'm never playing this game again. And then that's whenever I started playing on private servers. Eventually, like 2 or 3 years later, I started playing on private servers in WoW. Went back to Classic, Vanilla. I was like, I'm gonna play this game for a little bit. I ended up playing it a lot, ended up kind of becoming one of the guys. Next thing you know, I was like the Classic WoW guy and with Classic hats, kind of like leading the charge for Classic WoW with tips and stay safe and all them, which is kind of crazy how much has changed. We're talking about what MMOs, kind of what role they fill in your life. And MMOs are very all-encompassing. Nowadays, it's very difficult to have one game that kind of fills all the categories of everything that you're looking for in a game. Why? 1, because it's a lot to do. 2, is because there's a lot going on in people's lives. We're older now, right? Back in the day, like I said, I started playing whenever I was young and I started doing all this. Most of the people that played WoW, I remember back then were like college aged. Even now, a lot of the people playing WoW, there's kind of like this I feel like there's 2 main demographics of WoW players, like 18 to 25, 25 to 35. Those are like the 2 main demographics. It's slowly skewing at the bottom and it's skewing at the top kind of fast because I think what happens is if you're already playing WoW at a certain age, I think you continue to play. WoW's the type of game that like people will start playing like around the time they're like 20, you know? For me, I was in elementary, I was in 4th grade, all the classes in my class got hooked at the same time. That's sick actually. Yeah, because I started playing Daok in 3rd grade, but like nobody else played games like that back then. In fact, I didn't even play with most of my friends from high school. I didn't want to play with most of my friends from high school because they were new to the game. I would like do dungeons and stuff with them occasionally, but they were like new to the game and I was not. So it's like I was kind of in a different category. I wouldn't want to arena and stuff with them. 35 plus is massive. Yeah, like I feel like the 35 plus bracket is growing. And you know what's actually even crazier? Here's something that's crazier. And this might be a moment of just like awareness. Our generation, being gamers, unless something changes, it almost feels like it's like peaking out. Gaming as a category, like there's too many other things that people do to get entertained. And I feel like gaming as like a big category for like kind of millennials. Like it's like millennials and Zoomers. You have millennials, Zoomers, and then what's above millennial? Yeah, it was Gen X. So you have like boomers, Gen X, Then you have the millennials, then you have the Zoomers, and then you have whatever broccoli haircuts, right? Alpha. So I feel like between X to millennial to the Zoomers is kind of like it's like a distribution graph like this of gamers. Actually, it's probably more like this. Boomer, Gen X, millennial, then you have like Zoomers here, probably, Alpha. I feel like what's happening is gaming is becoming less popular. Like this is like the peak gamer age is like if you were born in like the early 90s. Like if you were born in like 1990, that is like the peak age of gamer. Fortnite is more for here. Roblox is big here.
80s lep boomer.
Like I feel like Roblox is big here and it's big like wherever the pedophiles are. But then Fortnite is here in this region a little bit. And then this was like the WoW players are here. This is Fortnite. The target audience for a lot of games nowadays, because I've noticed this, who consumes gaming content? Maybe this is from the perspective of like the consumption of gaming content that I see, and maybe it's the things that I'm interested in. What am I interested in? I'm interested in very cerebral type of games. Okay, I like the RPGs, I like MMOs, I like thinking strategy games, I like stuff like that, right? Maybe it's that type of game. I'm less interested in like FPSs, even though I like playing FPSs, I'm just not good at them. Like for example, I played Fortnite recently, no build. Fortnite no build was like the best thing they ever did. No build was beautiful. Battlefield 6 was great, but I like shooting games, right? I played shooting games. I played a lot of Counter-Strike Source, right? The worst one, but I played a lot of Source, because that was kind of the pinnacle of gaming for me, was that era of Half-Life 2, Counter-Strike Source, World of Warcraft. That was like that was my best Christmas ever. Okay, that was my best Christmas ever. So yeah, and I got WoW like I got WoW as an early Christmas present, and then I got like Half-Life 2 and DDR Max. Arc Raiders. I haven't played Arc Raiders. I need to play Arc Raiders. Everybody says it's super good. MMOs filled a lot of categories for entertainment, whereas now it's like we have Discord, we have all these different things. Even if it's like just talking to people and socializing, we have other platforms, TikTok, Instagram Reels, right? Snapchat stories, all these different things that you can do to entertain yourself, to interact with people, to even online communities, Twitch, right? Twitch as a whole like didn't exist back then, right? You have Twitch now, and Twitch I think has enhanced the gaming space. Live streaming has enhanced the gaming space. Like people make friends in Twitch chat, right? Especially like if you have like good communities. Like my community is a little bit more older, okay? You know, they're about 25-ish. So, you know, you have adults here. You have adults that are normal. There's not a whole lot of weirdos here. Joking aside, like this is like a good place to be in. People make friends in this, right? And people make friends in this community. People go on Discord. They do game nights. They play games. They do all kinds of stuff, right? Point being is there's a lot of different ways. So MMOs become very, very, very difficult to get out there and to grow and to really capture people the same way they did in the past, because there's too many other different options. Now, this entire conversation stemmed from what? It stemmed from the game being in early access. I think whenever a game goes into early access, you want to try and hit on all these points, and it's like a declaration of, hey, yes, this game is like, it's like a PR shield of guys, the game is not ready, but it's close. And you can pay to play, you can play the game as if you were normally playing. However, we'll give you a little bit of discount, and just be aware that there's a lot that's gonna change. Some things might be good, some things might be bad, but regardless, a lot of things might change. And I think that declaration is okay. That's much better than, hey, the game is out, guys. And it sucks. Now, I will say this. A lot of people don't think about this. And what they don't think about is most people, the second that they exchange hands with the money, and they say, here you go, here's my $50 or whatever, they have now made a purchase and they've bought that product. And it doesn't matter if it's in early access. It doesn't matter if it's in beta. It doesn't matter. A lot of people just don't think about it, right? It's not a consideration to them. And I'm talking about the lowest common denominator. Not like this is the way that you should think. That's arguable. But that is just the way that a lot of people think. It's just like the lowest level, like lowest barrier of entry level of thinking is, well, I bought this and it should work. It should be good. It should be the thing that I want to buy. And that's kind of true. But it is a disclaimer that, yeah, this is not quite there yet. This does a few things. One, it helps like it helps fund the dev team to where they can pay their employees, to where they can keep developing and they can keep doing all this stuff, which is good, right? And they don't have to just rely on purely investment. What this is, it's like a security blanket for them. The other thing this does is like it ends up being like free testing for them, but people want to play the game, so it's most people are okay with that. They're okay with paying to be a guinea pig because they're having fun. And that's really what it is at the end of the day. People are playing games to have fun. However, that lowest common denominator, that low barrier of entry, low common denominator has their first impression of the game. If it is bad, if it doesn't hook them, then that is their impression of the game. I mean, that's why it's scary to even go into alpha or early access or beta or anything. Like for a new game, it's kind of scary. Let's say an expansion like Midnight Alpha, Midnight Beta. Like I haven't done a whole lot of beta stuff. Actually, I haven't done any for Midnight, right? But for the last few expansions, like maybe I'll play for like a day just to like kind of screw around, check it out. But whenever I'm playing WoW, I'm like, well, I'm gonna play it whenever it comes out. I'm gonna buy it anyway. If I'm playing the game, I'm gonna buy it. That's the way that I operate. If I'm not playing the game, then I'm not gonna buy it. In the case of Ashes of Creation or any new MMO, that early access, that original feeling that you'll have whenever you play the game, that's your first impression, and it can go a long way either this way or this way. It's kind of a scary thing to put it into early access. Talking about what does it really mean whenever an MMO goes into early access, whenever Ashes of Creation going into early access, like kind of what are all the parts of that? And there's more that I haven't talked about or that I haven't thought about, right? But surely there's even some more things. But yeah, I think it is kind of like a scary thing and people just have to know that. But like for the devs, it's kind of scary because it's like, okay, we're in early access, but hopefully it's good. First 15 seconds is the most important for engagement. Yeah, 100%. Full alpha 2 wipe. So they're doing a full wipe for early access. Have they said if they're going to, Intrepid and Steam users can play together. PTR will continue as needed. Now, something else that there is to talk about. So they're bringing the game to Steam, and that's another thing. One, I'm old school, and like having an MMO on Steam is weird to me in my head, but I know Final Fantasy does it. Now Ashes does it. There's a bunch of MMOs that do that. But in my head, like it's weird, right? Because I'm so used to like the old school Dark Age of Camelot and WoW. You had its own launcher, right? It had its own launcher. Guild Wars doing it, Star Wars doing it, yeah. So it's just like, yeah, that's me being grandpa, okay? That's just like old school. Also, something I didn't like is I did Final Fantasy 14 through Steam, and then like dealing with my payment processing stuff was a huge pain in the ass. I actually didn't like that. But if everything is smooth, then it's pretty good. Here's something else. If you have people that have Intrepid accounts for Ashes of Creation, now they're doing a full wipe for Alpha 2, but surely there's going to have to be some kind of an integration here with your Intrepid and your Steam account. So maybe you can log in and like connect your Steam account and you can play through Steam or something, but they need to have some kind of integration to where you can merge your accounts. I think that's very, very important. Yeah, but Ashes of Creation is an MMO, kind of like what they wanted to do is this MMO, they wanted to have that old school feel with like a kind of modern glaze on an old school MMO. And I think it's gonna be hard. I mean, it's pretty lofty. There's some lofty expectations for Ashes. But oh wait, do I have to move to Steam? No, you're not required to move to Steam. Oh, this is good. This answers some questions. You're not required to move to Steam. Existing Intrepid account users can continue playtesting exactly as they always have. Nothing about your current access changes. If you want to use Steam, you may add Ashes of Creation as a non-Steam title so you can launch it from your library, but they actually play through Steam. A Steam purchase is required. Ooh. Because you're going to have certain things on your account from being like an early adopter or whatever. 14 is the worst Steam MMO. Oh, that's funny because that's the only MMO that I tried through Steam. Oh, no, that's not true. The only paid MMO that I tried through Steam. I've tried other MMOs through Steam and it was fine. But why early access? Ashes of Creation is designed as a reactive world, one that evolves based on player activity. This makes community testing a core part of our developmental philosophy. Early access allows us to bring testers directly into Vera during key stages of system building, whether that's settlement progression, economy loops, combat balance, or world events. By engaging with the community early, we gather critical feedback, identify issues faster, and refine systems in real time. Every session, bug report, and piece of feedback helps shape how each server's unique story unfolds. Okay, so there's no timeline on how long the early access goes. They're gonna have it go until it reaches the level of quality, stability, and content breadth we would expect for a launch. There's no fixed end date. How the full version differ? The early access version focuses on establishing and testing the foundational systems that define it: dynamic settlements, player-driven economy, crafting and resource systems, combat and archetypes, open world PvP and PvE encounters, sieges, guild and social systems, and more. As development progresses, we plan to expand these systems with additional content, polish, performance enhancement, and world events to ensure the world feels rich and alive. Full version will reflect a more complete, refined, and optimized Vera built on years of iteration and community testing. Price of early access will be $50. This includes access to Alpha 2, Beta 1, Beta 2, 1 month of game time, access to the NDA, PTR, and a non-exclusive cosmetic cloak. All current Alpha 2 testers will automatically receive the early access cloak. From December 11 to 25th, the bundle will be 15% off at $42.49. Cosmetic items will also be available for purchase individually on both platforms. The existing third wave bundle will be retired at that time. Who has access to early access? Anyone who has purchased Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Beta 1, or Beta 2 will be able to participate in early access. So also keep in mind PoE 2 is also in early access. Dude, nowadays everything is early access. So like if it's early access, it's out with like an asterisk. That's the way that I see it. It's like, hey, there's a certain developmental focus going on here. Yeah, I mean, I think Ashes of Creation is going to be interesting. I mean, I've always been a big MMO guy. I love MMOs. I love talking about MMOs. You guys know kind of where I was at with like classic WoW and everything. Here's my question to you guys. I'm kind of scared about overcommitting to things. I get a little bit scared overcommitting to things. December 11th rolls around. Maybe bringing Crusade, doing an iteration of Crusade, my guild, and Ashes of Creation could be fun. But like if I do that, then I'm like, hey, we're trying this game out. We're gonna play this at least for a few weeks. You know what's funny? The first Crusade wasn't very like content focused. It was, but it wasn't as content focused. I was just like playing the game, and I was like just leading the guild and playing the game the way that I wanted it to be played and the guild led and all that stuff. And it's funny because that's why it was such a good guild. I'm excited for Ashes of Creation. Like I've been thinking a lot about this going forward. I've been thinking a lot about MMOs and kind of what I want to do for 2026 and what else coming. There is likely to be a big sort of, I'm gonna call it kind of like a rotation, like a big like shift back in some ways of how I do things. And it's kind of like, if you've been watching the stream, you can kind of already feel it, I'm sure. But I really want to kind of go back to the old days of doing more of the MMOs and stuff like that. We have GTRP coming for sure. GTA is going to be big next year, but also recalibrating, kind of rotating back, getting back into the MMO stuff and getting back to, especially with like WoW. And I've been very active behind the scenes. I talk to a lot of people, you know, trying to kind of like push for like Classic Plus stuff and really hoping for the best there. Cause I really hope that they do it, even though like they won't say anything, but they listen, which is cool. New Blizzard has been pretty great about that. I'm excited. The next year, we're primed for a very, very fun 2026. Doing a little bit of stuff like bringing back the MMOs, doing Ashes of Creation, maybe spinning the guild up. I think it'd be fun. So if you guys are interested, let me know. If you guys would be interested in playing Ashes and joining my guild, let me know. In the comments, leave me a comment. Let me know if you'd be interested, just for the sake of, I can kind of like do a little survey, gauge the interest in this. So maybe we'll spin it back up, kind of like back in the old days. Thank you for watching the YouTube video. Instagram, Discord, Reddit, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Kick, everything is Esfand TV. And we'll see you guys next time. Make sure to like, comment, all those things. Thanks, guys.